And we're back. It is Crossroads Comedy Project coming to you live from the studio. My goodness. On Tour Records Studio has us in here doing a little podcasty because of the guy we're interviewing, and so it should be a lot of fun. But I'm one of your hosts, Josh Sardam.
No, I'm Mish Shalosh.
And today's show is really interesting. It's the first time we've actually been in a studio.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, it is. And today's guest is none other than the legendary Matt Holt.
Oh, that's a strong word.
Legendary?
Yeah, I never heard of him until today.
Now that sounds more accurate.
And you're next-ish, so you can hit him. That's fine.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm used to it.
Matt and I actually met when he was. I think you were opening for Greg Warren the first time I met you. Oh no, it was Mikey Winfield.
Mikey Winfield, yeah. Mikey's good. He's good people.
He sure is. And he's coming back here soon too.
Mikey's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love that guy. Big ass teeth.
Huge teeth.
I think that's his. Isn't that his like social media? Big ass teeth.
I think it is something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't it be?
Right. I mean,
it's all branding.
He's got a big old smile on him.
He's a great guy.
Funny. It got really funny. Really funny. So what have you been up to lately, man?
Man, I've been traveling and trying to get some new projects launched, and I'm not getting any sleep. I know that. I just moved to lovely Frankfort, Kentucky. This is my last night was my second night sleeping in my new place. So that was kind of cool.
Home of distilleries.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
I mean, because you go out and smell the mash any night, and
see that hasn't happened yet.
Really?
No, but I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to that.
Until about 6 months, they'd be like, "Man, I wish they'd stop doing that."
Well,
yeah, I mean, if you really like the smell of mash.
Well,
I mean,
there's bourbon at the end of that.
That's
so
true.
I can probably put up.
Well,
with
you live in
true.
Kentucky now, so
I mean, that's one of those things. It's like I can put up with a lot of. Can I swear on this podcast?
Absolutely.
I can put up a lot of bullshit from women at the beginning of the night if I know it's going to end in something. So it's all expectations at this point. So
and that point well made, sir. Point well made. So, yeah, I mean, we've got, I think, 3 distilleries here in town? Buffalo Trace being the big one.
Yeah, I could walk to Buffalo Trace from here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to, but I could.
I mean, why would you
I don't want to walk to my car.
Just the fact that you can do it.
Right.
So I'm the only one here that lives in a big city.
What big city do you live in?
Lexington.
Okay, that's not a big city.
Well, you both live in Frankfurt.
Wow.
Well, shit. The town next to us, Lawrenceburg, is bigger than Frankfurt. That doesn't mean anything.
Damn, I didn't know that.
There's more people that work here than in Lexington, though.
I believe that.
Yeah, there's a ton of people that work here.
There's a building right outside the window that's behind you that is being imploded in a few weeks.
I heard about that.
I'm very excited to see that.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
So I'm on the road that weekend, and I'm literally driving overnight.
Just so you can come see it.
Watch that,
yeah, we're actually going down to my wife's mother's house to watch it because she is plain sight of that.
Nice.
Thing. So yeah. So as you can tell, I live in Frankfort as well, and
I'm sorry, Josh.
You can send your condolence letters.
It's a lovely town. I like it here. I keep hitting the mic stand. I apologize.
You're fine. You're fine.
I'm such a moron.
No, you talk with your hands.
No, I am.
You are.
I do talk with my hands a lot. Mainly one finger. But.
Yeah, so relocated to Frankfurt, and you lived up in Michigan?
I'm originally from Indianapolis. I spent 47 years in Indianapolis, and then spent the last year and a half in Michigan.
I knew Michigan was in there somewhere.
Yeah, that was a good move.
So you've really hit rock bottom then.
No, Michigan.
Now you're in Kentucky.
Well, you mean doing this podcast?
Well, there it is. There it is. All right, now we're even.
Yeah, there we go. All right, now
we're all even now.
Now we're good. Now we're all friends.
All right. Yeah. So you lived in Michigan. Now, was it in Indianapolis you had that roommate, or was it?
It was Indianapolis.
It was Indianapolis.
Yeah.
All right.
It was the end of my run in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
It was 5 years of the roommate.
Matt has a very famous clothing about a roommate he had that is absolutely hilarious. So next time you see Matt come around, make sure you come out and see him.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, that closer's fantastic. Very funny.
I gotta move it. I gotta get a new closer.
Yeah,
I've had that one for a while.
It's great though.
And I appreciate that. Thank you. But I get bored.
Yeah.
So I got to put it somewhere else. And
sure.
I got to make something else. Close. I don't know, because I've got other stuff about the roommate that I want to do, and I can't do it because it doesn't flow correctly.
He sounded like he was like full of things you could just sit in the other room and write on.
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot. So I could do. I almost wrote my last one man show. I almost wrote about being a roommate.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I think I would be full of rage, so I don't think I can do that. There'd be very little laughing and me screaming about a sink full of dishes or something, and it's just not. This is the first place, I thought about this the other night. This is the first place I've lived completely on my own since I quit my day job to do comedy full time.
Huh.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I was in an apartment. I quit my job. That lease ran out like 3 months after that. And then I moved in with a buddy, and then I moved from there. I was going to move to L.A., and that didn't happen. So then I stayed in Indy, and I took on the famous roommate.
The famous
And then I
roommate.
went from there into a situation in Michigan with a female that shockingly didn't work out.
Shockingly.
Shocking.
And now I'm here. So, yeah.
So can we say the roommate's name? Or
Sure, yeah.
What-
He's a comic. His name is Jeff Bodart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I always wondered what his name was, because you never
Yeah,
mentioned it in your
Yeah,
setup.
well, I mean, I hate to promote him, but but yeah, he's a comic, and if I'm ever someplace and he's coming up on the schedule, I usually will tell people, oh, by the way, the guy in that joke, he's going to be here in 3 weeks, and then they just pester the shit out of him, or at least I hope they do.
That'd be awesome.
yeah.
He's on stage, they're like, hey, watch any good ghost stories lately?
Right. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's handled it well.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Now you actually did work for Carnival for a time? Carnival Cruise Lines?
Not for them. I was a performer. I mean, I was booked to perform on Carnival. Yeah, I did 2.5 years.
Good God. Now, were you out to sea a lot then?
I was not. The way I booked myself for that was I didn't want to do it full time. I wanted to just do that as a way to kind of supplement my income.
Sure.
So I could still stay on land. Because what I saw with Carnival was there were a lot of comics that did Carnival almost or not just Carnival, but cruises exclusively.
Right.
And they lost all contact with their land work.
Gotcha.
When that stops, and typically that kind of work does stop, 'cause
Yeah.
there's either a regime change or whatever happens, and suddenly you're not getting the dates you were accustomed to. Now you have to start from ground zero with all these bookers on land again.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that, so I was like, I'm going to keep my club bookings still running strong, and I'll have this so that I can say no to things I normally would have to say yes to. That's why I did it.
That's pretty cool.
So what is your experience being on a ship?
I do not like it.
Because I'm always curious. A lot of comics have been doing that. I mean, what didn't you like about it?
It's a very corporate mentality, which
Okay.
which I don't appreciate. Josh, you've seen me. I'm not a very scripted comic. I tend to be kind of loose, I guess, on stage. I mean, I guess is the best way to say it. And when I took the job, they were very specific about what they wanted, and they said, please, we really would rather you don't talk to the crowd. We don't want a lot of crowd. And the reason they want that is they don't want an audience member to get offended and then fill out a comment card. They're so afraid of comment
Lord.
cards. I'm not kidding. Okay, so I heard a story about a comic that was on the ship. She got written up by whoever's in charge because it was the family show, and she used the word alcohol in her act. Someone was offended. They went and turned in a comment card. And it said, we were told this is a family-friendly show. In our family, we do not talk about alcohol. And all she said was the word alcohol. She didn't say
shit.
I was fucked up, I was drunk, whatever. And she got written up for that. And that's a strike. And then I don't know what their process is. I mean,
So
luckily-
whatever, like 3 strikes, they throw you overboard or something?
Well,
milk is...
I will say this: I didn't see this with a comic, but I did see employees who they were so afraid you're going to have sex with a passenger too. You literally
is that frowned upon?
you had to sign a document saying you wouldn't do it.
Wow.
Yeah, again, probably a comment card.
I thought that was kind of one of the perks.
One of the perks is, here's the thing: as soon as you can't fuck a passenger, every passenger wants to fuck you.
Exactly.
Of
that's what I
course.
was thinking.
It's the most
Because they know about it, too. They're like,
Right.
hey, go fuck with those guys.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
But now staff do whatever you want. I mean, you could check countries off your list if you want. If you want to, because they also the staff, if they're not already involved with somebody, if they don't have a relationship on board, you're leaving in a week.
Right.
It's on. Like that's great for. That if that's what you're looking for, you can make that happen. But as far as passengers, absolutely not.
I feel like we need a few more hours just to go over
So
Matt and his
here's the thing.
experiences.
So I've seen. Well, that'd be do that for the Patreon page.
There you go.
So, but I have seen employees like crew members and whatnot who have gotten caught with passengers. Like we got off the ship one day, and I think we were in Costa Maya, maybe Mexico. I forget what island we were in, but we're in an island. And I get off the ship, and there's a guy who I'd met. He's like one of the entertainment guys, like a break dancer or some bullshit. But he's standing on the dock, and he has like a fucking lamp and all this shit. I'm like, Kyle, what's going on? And he was like, oh, I got fired. I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, I took this girl back they caught me taking her to my cabin or whatever. And they just send him off the ship with all his shit. And like,
In the middle of Mexico.
yeah, it's like, and I go, well, are they flying you back? It's like, no, I'm done. So he has to get off the dock and if it was Costa Maya, that's a 6 or a 5 hour shuttle to Cancun to get to. I mean, it's in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Well, thank God at least there was population there. It could be like Captain Jack Sparrow, where he's just one shot, a sword.
Man.
In the middle.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I know other comics that have gotten caught with passengers and stuff, and they've been fired.
Wow.
You're not coming back and that kind of thing. So
It still trips me out about the alcohol because milk is a gateway drug. So
it's just so strange to me. So there's a lot of that stuff, and then I didn't like the family shows either. I mean, so a normal week would be like, Josh, let's say you and I are the two comics on the ship. We're not working together. Okay, there are 5 shows over the course of 5-day cruise. There's 5 shows.
Okay,
the comedy club is open 2 nights. So let's say they're open Monday and Wednesday. So on Monday night, you and I, there's 5 shows to do. You're going to do 2, and I'll do 3, and we alternate. Okay?
Right.
They're half-hour shows. Each of us, our first show is family clean. There are kids there.
Gotcha.
The others are adult. You you literally can do whatever you want.
All right.
And then the next night we switch it back. I do 3, you do 2. So we're doing 5 shows each over a 2-day period. 2 shows each will be family, and 3 are adult.
Right.
They would like for you to have different shows for your adult. I think I had about 2 different adult shows, and I had a family show. Family show was absolute horse shit. I'm not proud of it. I would never.
A lot of poop jokes.
What are you doing? Like knock
Fart
jokes?
jokes?
No, I mean, I would do my act, but I would do the most clean shit I had. But then what I was doing, and I have no shame with this at all, I would find 2 or 3 kids from the crowd, and I would bring them up and have them tell their favorite joke. And like I would find out who they were, what town they're from, who they're cruising with, all that kind of shit, and I would make them into a star. And then I would have them come up and tell the joke. The crowd would go nuts for the kids, obviously.
Right.
I looked like a hero for involving these kids, and then I could kind of make fun of them a little bit. They get off stage, that's 12 to 14 minutes. And
Sure.
I got 10 minutes I got to fuck with, or 12
Right.
minutes. And I did that, and it saved my ass. And then I would throw a couple street jokes in. I was not proud of it at all. And then the adult shows were fun typically, but it depended. Sometimes you had a lot of redneck crowds.
Yeah.
They weren't fun. I just didn't like it, man. It was not for me. I mean, take out the cabin being shitty, and
Right.
the living accommodations were.
Talking about a weird angle room, right?
Oh my
Because
God.
they put you below waterline, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So your room is curved.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. I mean, no porthole. I mean,
Right.
You're in the. I'll put it this way: one of my favorite. It was a depressing place.
Right.
What I would do is, if I didn't want to be around passengers, I would go downstairs. Especially sometimes I'd have 2 days off with no performances. I would go down and I would take tissue paper and I'd cram it in the peephole of my door, and it was total darkness. Because there's no fucking light coming from anywhere.
Right.
And I would sleep for like 19 hours. That's without the aid of booze or pills or anything. I would just get in my little ass bunk, cover up, and just pass out. And then next thing I know, it literally would be the next day. I was like, fuck, I can't believe how long I've slept. But it was better than being around these fucking idiots up on deck.
Yeah.
It was rough, man. I did gain fans. I will say this. I mean,
Sure.
When I work like Myrtle Beach, I've got a good group of people that live in that area that see me on a ship, and they always come see me.
Nice.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
But that's the rarity.
Right.
I mean, for me, now
that wasn't the norm.
No, definitely not. Now there are a lot of comics who I really respect greatly who do it and they love it and they're doing great with it.
Sure.
Good for them. Now, having said that, if Carnival calls me tomorrow and if they say will I do it? Yes.
Yeah.
But I'll do it under a different set of circumstances. Now I will do it with eyes wide open, knowing what the expectation is.
Right.
And I would alter my approach, and it'd be like, okay, this is to make money. Because when I first got to that, man, this is great. This is the next phase of my career. I'm going to go and I'm going to do this. And it was very hard to bitch about this, too, because here it is. I'm complaining, right? I'm in the Caribbean. I'm standing. Usually this would always happen when I was at the crew lounge or whatever. Like there's a crew bar where every drink's $1, right?
Nice.
So I'm standing I'm at the bow of the ship, which is usually where the crew lounge like smoking area was.
Right.
I'd be out there, cigar in my hand, a cocktail, under more stars than I've ever seen in my entire life, and I'm getting paid a really good wage to tell these people jokes.
Yeah.
Very hard for me to complain about that and feel good about it when I know that probably one of my closest friends in the business is in like fucking Rochester, Minnesota, in 14 inches of snow, making $300 in a bar.
Right.
I mean, perspective was important. So
Sure.
it was like, God, I hate complaining because I feel like a dick.
Right.
But I also went through all that other shit too.
Sure.
But comics come with me all the time and say, man, I want to do cruises. I'm like, do you really?
Do you?
Let me really talk to you about
I
this.
think on paper it sounds good.
It sounds great, and it sounds
Yeah.
romantic and everything. And it's now I can't speak to the other cruise lines. I don't know. From what I've heard with the other lines, they give you passenger status. You get a nice cabin. You can go to the dining room, that kind of stuff. It's not this.
It's not like Carnival.
Yeah, Carnival. It's almost like you're just steerage.
Yeah.
know? It's-
It's like you know where the term shit came from, right? You don't know where it came from. When settlers were coming over here on the old wooden sailing ships,
Right.
they'd have to bring manure with them as a way to fertilize the ground. So where are you going to put manure on a ship? You're going to put it as far away from you as you can. You're going to put it on the bottom. Well, wooden ships leak. So when you get salt water that mixes with manure, you've got a really bad mess. So they would have to put it higher up in their cargo bays, so they would always stamp it SHIT, which stood for Ship Hire in Transit.
Really?
And that's where shit comes from.
See, I've learned something now.
Yeah.
That's good.
And that's where they put the comics.
And the last person I would have thought I would have ever learned a speck of information
Was me.
from is Josh.
Yeah,
No, well, Josh is full of shit all the time. So
it's true.
I like this dynamic.
I have gas right now, matter of fact. I do.
I can smell that. All
this
right.
is-
No, I haven't let anything go. Believe me, if I did, those plugs in your hair would have fell out by now.
Oh, there you go. Plugs crack. Every show. Every show.
Almost every show. Almost every show. Again, but so all right. So I know some of the stories. Of course, they're premises that you do on stage.
Sure.
But what is like the most horrific? Like, I can't believe I'm seeing this moment you had on Carnival.
Okay, I'll tell you the story that made me decide I was never doing them again.
Okay.
I don't know if this counts as horrific, but this is certainly was a linchpin for me. Okay?
Right.
So, as I said before, there's 2 comics at a time. Okay. And often what we would do is on a 7-day cruise, they would bring comics on in the beginning, and then halfway through the cruise, at one of the ports, those 2 comics would get off the ship. 2 other comics would fly in and join the back half. So that way,
Gotcha.
that way over 7 days, they got 10 shows out of 4 different comics.
Nice.
And in the business, we always call that a front to back or a back to front, because you join the backside, do that. Often you then go back to port. You join the front half of the next cruise.
Gotcha.
So you would do 2 back-to-back cruises that way. So anyway. So I'm getting on the back half of a cruise. I'm flying from Indianapolis to Grand Cayman. I get on board, and the other part I forgot about this earlier. Oftentimes we would do what's called a welcome aboard show.
Okay.
So that'd be the first day. It's the day everyone loaded on this damn thing. Everyone's tired. They funnel everyone into the big room, which is like 4,500 seats or whatever. And then they basically do a show where they get to know who the crew is. Like the cruise director hosts the thing, and then the band comes out and plays some songs, and the dancers are there, and then they meet all the entertainment staff and all this shit. And then the comics are like the end, and they want us to do 5-minute teasers for our shows, which makes no fucking sense because the shows are sold, they're packed and there's never been a night where you had empty seats, so you don't even need to tease shit
Because there's only so much
there's
to do
nothing
on
to
this.
do,
Right.
yeah. Like unless you go listen to the woman talk about how to buy diamonds at the port, you have a shopping specialist that tells you, oh, go in here and say this, and then you get this discount. What people don't know is Carnival owns all those fucking shops.
Oh shit.
So they're the ones building all these shops. So Diamonds International is a company that Carnival Cruise Lines owns, and they just funnel their passengers to it, thinking they're getting some great deal.
Nice.
Anyway.
It's a scam.
Yeah, and so anyway, so we'd have to do the welcome aboard show.
Right.
Well, that welcome aboard show was miserable because it's 5 minutes in front of people who've traveled all day. They haven't even been able to get their luggage yet. Like, they haven't gone to their cabin because their cabins aren't, they're going to take their luggage there. So they've just been roaming this ship. Now, some of them are excited, but by now it's 11 o'clock at night.
Sure.
And they're done.
Yeah.
And then you got to go out and do 5 minutes. It's also can't be 5 minutes as part of your act. It's got to be five separate minutes.
Yeah.
And it's got to be clean. And these people don't give a shit. And they would say, you can do 3 to 5 minutes. I would do 3.
3.
I was not doing 5. But,
right.
So anyway, but that was a great opportunity to learn about what was going on in the cruise. You could get a good vibe on things. Well, when you're doing the back end first, you don't get to do that welcome aboard show.
Gotcha.
So I got on the ship, and it was one of those rare times where I get on the ship, and that night I have to do shows. Normally we would start the next day, but the way this one happened to run, it was a weird run where we had one less sea day or something. So I have to perform that night. When I sign on, I go to the office to sign on for my cabin, find out the other comic could not join. There was some kind of a travel issue, and he wasn't going to get on until the next day.
Oh, shit.
West. So now I have to do 5 shows on travel day.
Damn.
And I've got to do 2 family shows and then 3 adult shows. Now, the upside is I'm done after that. I'm done for 4 days. I don't have to do shit on this cruise. So I go do the first show. And it's my family show. But it's going pretty well, actually. Like, I actually do pretty. I have a woman that's kind of drunk who is kind of heckling, but I was able to shut her down, and I got a lot of mileage out of that. At the time, I used to do a joke. I used to do a Chick-fil-A joke, okay? And the joke was very simple. It was like someone told me, I don't know why Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays. Somebody told me it's because they're Mormon-owned. I said, that can't be the case, because if they're Mormon-owned, they would have a bike rack out front. Okay? Simple joke. I tell that joke. It gets a pretty good response. Show's over. I'm standing out in the lobby, and I'm greeting people as they're walking by. And I probably had, no exaggeration, probably 10 or 12 people that stopped me and said, hey, Chick-fil-A is not Mormon-owned. They're actually a Christian-owned company. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you, whatever.
Right.
Of course I know that, but joke doesn't work that way.
Right.
So everyone's gone. There's an old couple in their 70s. I hear the woman say to the man, no, he needs to be told.
Oh, shit.
So this old man walks over to me and he goes, you know what? This is our 22nd Carnival cruise. I said, wow, congratulations. That's what an accomplishment. And he goes, yeah, this is easily the worst show we've ever seen.
Oh.
I said, okay, well, I'm really sorry. He goes, you're probably not really sorry. I go, what was the problem with the show? And he goes, you're pretty offensive. And I go, really?
In the family show.
Yeah, I go, I've never been told that before. I've been doing this a long time. I've never been called offensive before. And he goes, now, you know, that Chick-fil-A thing is just over the line. And I go, okay. I said, well, this gentleman over here is the manager. If you'd like to speak to him, I'm sure he would be happy to address your concerns. I hope you enjoy the rest of your cruise. And I left. And I had 3 more shows or 4 more shows to do.
Right.
So I get through the shows. Everything goes okay. I mean, it's a fine run of shows. I'm tired, but and my adult shows were always good. I mean, unless I had some weird shit going on, I could make my way through it. I get through all my shows and I'm done. I'm so ecstatic. I don't have to be around people. I'm done. So the next day, it's our day that we're going to Key West. So I go and I'm having lunch on. No, we do Key West. Yeah, we do Key West. The next day, I'm having lunch on the ship. And I'm up on the Lido deck having lunch. Different guy comes up. And he goes, hey, it's a comedian. I go, hey, how's it going? He goes, you got a minute? And I'm like, sure. And he sits down at the table across from me and he goes, we were at your first show the other night. I said, oh, great. And he goes, yeah, we didn't care for it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I go, okay, what was the problem with the show? And he goes, has anyone ever explained to you how blasphemous you are?
Oh my God, that Chick-fil-A. No wonder you said I used to do the Chick-fil-A joke.
I go, no one's ever said that to me before. I go, what exactly was so offensive? And he goes, well, if I'm being honest, I go, sure, absolutely. And these are his exact words. I really hope you don't get any feedback or flare back from listeners here.
Oh, it's fine.
His exact words were, he goes, yeah, you're up there making fun of Chick-fil-A. That's a good, upstanding organization. Now, if you're making fun of the queers or the coloreds, we'd have no problem.
Oh, my God.
Exact words.
Wow.
And I said, I'm sorry. And he repeated himself, and I just got up and excused myself. And I went to my cabin. I'm like, I don't ever want to be around this group of people ever again.
So this guy, instead of giving you constructive criticism
Yeah.
on something you said.
He was even
went
more.
and proved that he's the biggest piece of shit on the planet.
Absolutely. And then I come to find out, I was talking to someone else, someone in one of the entertainment hosts or whatever. That ship, that cruise, like 2,200 of the passengers were part of this one big religious gospel group.
But Davidian, Branch Davidians?
Whatever,
what were they?
Yeah, so it was a bunch of religious fanatics or whatever
Wow.
on this. It was like, you know what? If I would have been if I would have had the welcome aboard show, I would know that because it would have acknowledged these people
Sure.
up front.
And
I
you-
just came into it knowing.
Right.
So the comedy club manager could have said, "Hey," which that's the other thing that pissed me off about this.
He didn't even give you a heads up.
No, and the comedy club manager on these ships is like some 22, 25-year-old kid. Last week he was on the breakdancing team, and now
Now he's the entertainment director.
Yeah, and he's judging you. He's writing my reviews about whether or not that tells whether I get to come back or not. So this guy has your livelihood right in his
Wow.
hands. And he doesn't half of them barely speak English. They're speaking broken English or something. They don't know stand-up comedy.
Jesus.
So it's just, again, a lot of people do it and they love it. And God bless you.
I mean,
It's just not my thing.
can you picture me getting up there talking about born Jewish, raised
No,
Catholic?
I can't. I mean,
Can you imagine me up there?
I just can't see.
Infidel!
It's. Oh yeah, no, it's not gonna work.
Me and you should both do a show, George.
We should.
On a cruise.
I had a run of about probably for 5 months. Probably at least one Tuesday a month, I had lunch in Cozumel, Mexico.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's hard to bitch about that.
That's
You know what
pretty
I mean?
cool.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool. I saw places I would never have seen if not
Sure.
for comedy.
No, that's really cool.
So, and I got 10 minutes out of it.
I mean, for being blasphemous, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There you go, Matt.
no, I don't think my fans would be mad at you.
Did you put an S on the word end of fan?
I said I don't think our fans.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought
Oh,
you
so
said-
you're saying we only have one fan?
Well, you said my. Like, you're not saying our. You weren't including ish in this. You said, I don't think my
I
fans.
don't think I have fans. Do I?
You've got fans. I saw two in your house. They go around over with the.
Oh, really?
No.
Keep it for the family show, Josh.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
That would kill in a family show.
Right?
that would murder.
Yeah. You put that at the end.
Yeah. Jeez.
I apologize for everyone who might be tuning in. And they're like, what's all this fucking carnival bullshit? Sorry.
No, you're
No,
fine.
that's good.
Did you ever think like you wanted to do like maybe one of the other cruise lines?
Yeah,
or-
I did think that, and I still would like to try it.
especially if they're going to treat you better. I mean,
treat you better. I think they pay you more, and I think you do less time.
I mean,
less
like
shows.
what Norwegian and what's the other big one?
I would, if I were choosing, I would want to do Royal Caribbean.
Royal
and
Caribbean.
The reason I want to do Royal is because they're actually they're not as tied up in language, and you can still do like adult shows. And you get in Norwegian, and some of those they want you to be clean all the time, and I just don't have. I can do that. I just don't want to do that.
I mean, is there a cruise ship where they allow you to sleep with the passengers?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
Just
Am-
curious.
Amtrak, I think. Well, you can
Amtrak?
Amtrak. You can get on a train.
I
And
think there's a couple of that's some hobos. I don't know about that.
and Ish does have a girlfriend. Anyway,
Had. Well,
Thanks,
she's,
Josh. Had a girlfriend.
she's not listening. Why would she support him? She's not listening. To
Yeah,
this.
she stopped listening like 20 episodes
Yeah.
ago.
did she really?
I think
you
so.
didn't know her 20 episodes ago.
I did it?
No.
It wasn't her? Oh, fuck.
You had a good run.
Wow. Oh,
Put
wow.
a fork in that turkey.
Right.
Yeah, because you just figure that like Carnival's like the lower end as far as budget wise, so you're going to get more families there.
It's a floating hotel, is all it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I say on stage, it's a floating Walmart. Is essentially what it is.
No, he does, and he's got some
Yeah.
great. If you've never seen his set, you got to see his set about that. It's hilarious.
Didn't you just do a weekend here in Louisville?
Last weekend I was in Louisville. Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
he was at the Caravan.
At the Caravan. Nice.
No, because like my aunt goes to Royal Caribbean. She's she's 68 years old. And,
Yeah. I mean, Royal's a pretty good match of ages. I mean, the younger folks go on Royal as well, and the ships are nice and
Yeah.
all that. When you get into Norwegian, then you're getting some older people. Holland America and Princess are really old.
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
I
typically.
didn't know the Princess was old.
Yeah, I think so.
Is that it, which one? Which one has Disney?
Disney's on their own.
Disney's their own.
they're
Oh,
own.
okay. So I thought like for some reason I kept thinking Princess was Disney, but
No, I think Princess was the Love Boat. Was Princess Cruise
Oh, yeah.
Lines. Yeah.
You're right. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So so the whole Love Boat was just an hour-long shitty commercial for Princess Cruise Lines. But that's back when cruising was really something. It was
Right.
a very novel idea where,
Yeah.
those people went on a cruise. That's fantastic.
And it was probably pretty expensive for the time
I'm sure,
as well.
yeah.
I mean, now it's like way more affordable.
And if you live in Florida, it's even cheaper. Because
yeah.
Carnival does not sail with empty cabins.
Right.
So if they've not sold a cruise out, they then go first to the travel agencies in Florida and they blast these things out. I met many, many people who were on a cruise that cost them like $39.
God dang.
Because they were empty. They had empty staterooms and they were like, nope, we need to get people in these.
Hey,
So.
for that kind of money, it's worth it.
The best day of the whole cruise for me was the day before we got into port, because that's when everyone got their invoice that showed what their booze charge was. And so you just had a line of it looked like Black Friday. A line of people to dispute their bill because you have a card, it's your door key to your cabin.
Right.
That's connected, your credit card is attached to that. So when you get a cocktail, you give them, it's called your sail and sign card. They swipe that. Well, it takes all the free will out of it. And you see the bartender, you're like, oh, yeah, I'll have another one of these drinks that's in a monkey's head or whatever. And it's $18 or something. And
Right.
next thing you know, you got six of those a day, and that adds up. And then you're like, fuck, I can't afford this cruise.
Well, that's why casinos have chips, right? And they don't use cash.
Yeah, because people don't.
Because the people, they don't think of it as real money because they're like, oh, it's chips.
Absolutely.
It's a trick.
And now casinos have gone to
Just a card.
There are no more coins,
Right.
Which actually hurt them in the beginning, because I remember the Luxor was the first casino in Las Vegas that went to coinless machines, and it hurt them, and it really hurt their foot traffic, because when you'd walk into that building
And you'd hear
you wouldn't hear any coins hitting, so
Right.
people wouldn't get excited. And initially, they said the experts thought it was because it's a pyramid,
Right.
and it goes straight up. They were saying, oh no, all the sound just goes up, so you don't hear activity.
No.
It wasn't that. It was there were no coins hitting, and people didn't feel there was any excitement, and they didn't do it.
Huh.
And then it took them a while until everyone went to that, and now I think they're probably doing okay.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it definitely would.
Luxor's
get me excited.
gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a very cool place.
Now, you've done work out there.
I have not.
I thought you did.
Doing my first week at Brad Garrett's Club in March.
I knew the Brad
Oh,
Garrett
nice,
connection.
yeah.
I'll be there in March.
And that'll be your first time.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Congratulations.
Thank
That
you.
should be
It's
fun.
so awesome.
That-
Hey, when is that, March?
The week of St. Patty's Day.
Dude, I might fly out there just to
Dude,
watch you.
It's I've got tons of people flying out to do it. I've got I think that Wednesday night I've got like 18 or 20 relatives and friends flying out.
That'd be so
But
awesome.
that's my absolute goal in comedy, is to work Brad's club. So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is there's
So-
TV doing TV is not even close to be doing that club for me.
And he's a crackhead, so you're going to love him. I mean,
well, Brad's the reason I do comedy.
really?
Yeah, he's absolutely the reason I do it.
He went on Gordon Ramsay's show, The F Word. He was like on the finals, because it's a cooking competition.
Right.
And in between checking out what the family teams are doing, like he'll have celebrities on there, and he had Brad Garrett on there. Brad Garrett bust his balls so fucking
It's his whole
hard.
act.
He wouldn't stop talking. And Gordon's like, "You got to try this. You got to try this." And he's like, "Get the waiter over here." I mean, he's just like totally blowing Gordon out, and it's hard to blow Gordon Ramsay
it is.
out.
No,
and
Brad's-
Brad, it completely dominated. It was awesome.
He's absolutely the best.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is if I make it through that week without sobbing every show, I'll be shocked. That's how important.
This is the pinnacle for you,
How many shows are you doing out there?
7.
Wow, that's so
one,
awesome.
One show a night.
dude. I'm so happy
amazing.
for you. That is awesome.
Are you
TV is-
opening for?
I'm opening.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. That's
So,
wow, that's awesome.
I may come out just to see it.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's kind of. I mean, I'll tell the story. I've told the story on another podcast. So I'm happy to tell the story.
Go ahead.
But
Absolutely.
it's a long story.
Go for it.
But I actually have closed some of my shows. No, I haven't. Because I middle it off Broadway, and I only do it if I'm headlining. Okay, so back in 93, 92 maybe,
Yeah.
Brad he was on the road. He was a touring road comic, but he didn't do a lot of cities. He was opening for Sinatra a lot.
Wow.
He was like Sinatra's opening act and Sammy Davis Jr.'s opening act.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't
a lot-
know that.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of work for those guys.
Wow. Rat
Well,
Pack guy, huh?
Indianapolis was one club where Brad would perform. He'd be there twice a year. He was huge there. Huge. And
Oh,
it's
no doubt.
It's because that's back before Bob and Tom was syndicated, and they were local. They were very, very comic friendly. So comics loved to come into Indianapolis, and we had a really good club scene. So Brad would work those clubs. Well, because I knew who he was from hearing him on Bob and Tom, we would go see him multiple times a week. Like we'd go to like 4 shows because they're all different. It's all crowd work. I mean, Brad, he maybe had 15 minutes of material that he'd go on stage and do, but most of the time he was wandering the crowd with a wireless mic.
God, I got to see him now.
It was brilliant. It was the most brilliant stuff ever. I had always wanted to be a comic. Watching him made me want to be a comic even more. Then we would hang out after the show, and then he'd come out in the lobby, and he would like do another 20 minutes for all of us there because he would like just go around and start picking on all of us and everything. Well, we became friends from that. Like we got to the point where we knew each other, and then then we started like hanging, and we'd like go drinking together, and we'd play golf and all this kind of stuff. So he was the first guy I ever told that I wanted to be a comic. I mean, even before my family. You know, I didn't even tell my family about it, but I told him. We were on a golf course one day, and his advice was, he's like, well, then just get your dick wet. Just do it. Go up and do it. I'm like, I can't just do it. Like, I'm not ready to do that. And he's like, fuck it, just do it. So that was the week. I can timeline this. That was the week that they found the bodies at the OJ scene. The morning of the OJ murders.
Gotcha.
That's exactly the day. The day they found the body, that's when this happened. This conversation happened. Because we were talking about that morning on the way to the golf course.
Right.
And he was like, oh, by the way, tonight, when you get to the club, you're going to do 5 minutes. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, come up and do 5 minutes. I've already talked to the owner. It's set up. You're good to go. And I go, I can't fucking do 5. I don't have 5 minutes. He's like, yeah, you do. We've had all these conversations, all this stuff you told me. It's funny. You're naturally a funny guy. Just go do it. It's 5 minutes. Just do it. So I think about it all day, and finally go, fine, I'll do this.
Now, did you work at the club, or you just...
No, I was a patron. Yeah.
Nice, okay.
And I'm like, fine, I'll do it. But I come up from my table. You know, I don't want anyone at my table knowing. It's a total surprise, because otherwise, if I know it, if I tell people, I'll back out. And he goes, no problem, however you want to do it. So I get there early, and we always were like a front table, too, you know, because it didn't matter where you sat with him, because he's going to wander around. So we're at the front table, and it's like 20 minutes before the show starts, and I freak out. I get up, and I walk down the hallway, and I knock on the green room door. I walk in the green room. I go, Brad, I can't do this. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not ready. And if I go up and do this now, I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm going to embarrass you. I don't want to do that. If I do this wrong, I'm never going to do it for real. I just can't. I'm out. And he goes, okay, no problem. The next time I come to town, have your ass ready. Be ready and do 5. The next time I come through, I'm like, no problem. I look at the club owner. I thank him for you know.
What a super dude, man.
Yeah, I go, thank you for being so cool about letting me do this. And then and we'll get more on this later, I said to the feature act, who is the person who's actually giving up time for me to do time, I really appreciate it. Thank you. We'll talk, Brad, we'll talk after the show, whatever. So the show goes on. It's brilliant. My family and friends still didn't know that this was about to, they didn't know what I just dodged, right?
Right.
Finish the week out. He and I are talking and all this. He goes, he gets everyone knows Raymond. Not long after that, he does not come back. It took me 7 years before I got on stage.
Wow.
I wasn't ready, and it wasn't until then. Now, let's say this: during the time that happened, or during the time that I was going to see him on a regular basis, when I told him about wanting to be a comic, this is the part I talked about on stage. I found myself in Vegas. I was on vacation with my, at the time, wife and some friends. We were in Vegas. Brad was opening. He was at Bally's, opening for the Righteous Brothers.
Right.
Again, he's the first person I told I want to do stand-up. He gets us tickets to the show. We're at a front table in Bally's. Bally's seats, I don't know. I think it's 2,000 people. It might be less.
That sounds about right.
It's called the Celebrity Room, or it was. It's a nice sized room. We watch the show. He takes us backstage after the show. We're hanging out, and like the fucking Righteous Brothers are there. And like, I'm a huge Springsteen fan. And this was in '93. Springsteen's album Human Touch just came out. Bobby Hatfield from the Righteous Brothers sang backup on that album.
Nice.
So I'm sitting 3 feet from someone who sang on one of my idols. I'm ecstatic, And we're having this, and I'm hearing all these show business stories, like, and they're including us in this. And it's me and my wife and a couple friends, and they're including us in all these stories. Like, we had no business being up there, and it was amazing. And I'm seeing Brad in his element,
Yeah.
So the night's over. He's walking us out, right? We're walking through the backstage area. And that place had been packed just a few hours earlier. Now it's empty. Like the tablecloths like this have been pulled off the tables, and it's just plywood under there.
Right.
It's like ugly, like just press board. And he looks at me and goes, "This is when I love to come in this room." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "No, look around." He goes, "This room's not pretty. This room isn't better than you. This room can't defeat you." Like, that's a mentality in this business you have to have, that there's no room better than you. He goes, "Sometimes you just have to see it at its core to understand that." He goes, and you want to do this for a living, right? I go, "Yeah, more than anything." He's like, "Good, then you need to experience something." So he puts his hand around my shoulder, and he has me close my eyes. And he's walking with me. And we get to the spot, and we stop. And he goes, "Okay, turn your head toward the ground, but keep your eyes closed." I'm like, "All right." So I'm standing there. And he goes, don't open your eyes until I say so." I said, "Okay." And I hear him walking away. It sounds like forever, too. It feels like forever. Finally, he goes, "Okay, when I say now, open your eyes, but keep your head down." I'm like, "All right." So I'm standing there. He goes, "Okay, open your eyes." And when I open my eyes, my feet are standing on the star on the stage in Bally's. And he goes, "In that spot where you're standing, Frank Sinatra stood.
Damn.
Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, Johnny Carson, all the greats stood in the spot you occupy right now." He goes, "Now look up and look out to where the audience was." And I looked down, and he goes, "Do you still see those ugly plywood tables?" I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Good, don't ever forget what that feels like." That was my night. That was my last night in Vegas with him.
Wow.
And then it was after that he gave me the opportunity to get on stage with him, and I backed out because I wasn't ready. Now, so that's really cool, and I tell that story with a
I was going to say, I've heard you tell that before.
Yeah. So I tell that if I have a crowd that I really connect with,
right,
I tell that story
because it means a lot to you. It
means everything
right.
to me. And people will come up to me after the show and they say, "My God, thank you so much for sharing that." Because I try to encourage people to go after their dreams by telling that story. So anyway, here's the cool thing. So that's why Brad's club means everything. That's why that gig means everything to me, because that's full circle.
Now, that's his club, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's his.
Yeah. So here's the beauty. So I'm doing that show. I'm doing that club. So it's, and I'm starting out in that club. Everyone that goes to that club starts off as the host, right? So I'm hosting that club. The headliner is Rich Voss. The feature, the feature is BT.
Okay.
BT is the feature that gave up time for me to do.
Oh, wow.
A guest set back in Indianapolis in '93.
Nice.
That I backed out of. Now I just found out that also that week, starting on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, those shows, Brad's performing.
Nice.
Very nice.
So for that weekend, the pinnacle for me, I get to perform with the two people that I should have performed with, which would have been my very first time on stage.
So it's completely full circle
Absolutely.
at that point. Yeah, so I can see what you're saying.
So
now.
What is that, 18 years ago? Or
Longer than that.
25?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing comedy almost 20.
Right.
27 years ago.
God.
That's insane.
What a great story. What a guy Brad is, huh?
Oh, my God. And that's the thing. It was like, he's one of the most genuine people I've ever met in my entire life.
Dude, I tell you, anytime I've seen him perform, like I said, it's crackhead mentality. It's just this whole vibration of like energy, and like he is everywhere and hilarious.
No, he's one of the best. He's absolutely one of the best.
And to actually unnerve someone like Gordon Ramsay is fucking brilliant.
No, he has no off switch. He
No.
has one speed. It's full speed ahead.
But unless if like all you saw him was Everyone Loves Raymond,
Oh, yeah.
you would have never thought that's
No.
who that. I mean, because he is completely different. His energy levels
And
like
the amazing
crazy.
thing about that is all the time that I spent with him, it was always trying to tell him, someone's gonna figure this out. They're gonna find a way to get you on TV. Like, you were gonna be a huge star. And he was like, I don't know how this is gonna work. I don't know how we're gonna do this. I've tried.
Yeah.
Nothing ever worked. And then finally, Raymond hit, and he was huge,
Yeah.
And then he played Jackie Gleason in that TV movie, and that was amazing. I mean, everything
Right.
he's done since has just been phenomenal. But there were we spent many nights talking about, he just didn't know what the end game was going to be for him.
That is freaking awesome.
And so I'm ecstatic about it. It's going to be
That's a great story.
It's going to be huge.
That's phenomenal.
So do you have anything coming up that you want to plug or anything? Any shows you're going to be doing anywhere?
Well, I might be at the Comedy Off Broadway the first week of April, but I don't know
Okay.
yet. It's pending. So.
And you're going to headline?
No,
what are you doing?
I'll be featuring.
For
I don't know yet. That's what's up in the
Okay.
air. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
all right. Well,
So
I'm
we
sure
shall see.
Jordan will get you in there.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Yeah.
But no, I don't have a lot to to plug officially yet. I'm launching a couple podcasts,
Nice.
but I don't know when. That's probably going to be probably April, May before those go. My website has my schedule. It's mattholtcomedy.com, and Twitter and Instagram and all that's at Holt Comedy. But yeah, just getting out there, doing what I can on the road, man. I mean, just trying to.
I tell you, man, amazing having you on the show.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
Freaking awesome
Great
story.
stories, yeah.
I mean, those are some of the best stories we've had on here. It's fantastic.
Well,
it's different when you get an actual working, breathing comedian on here who has real experiences versus
I appreciate
the guys that haven't left the state yet.
No,
Yeah.
and I'll say this.
like
I don't want to make this longer than it has to be, but so right after I booked this date in Brad's room, my buddy Dave Landau, who's one of the best comics in the country. Dave is big in Brad's room. He headlined there New Year's Eve year before last. He's huge. Brad loves him. Dave got picked by Brad to do some shows opening for him, like casinos and stuff like that. So I was on the road, and I had an off night, and Dave was going to be opening for Brad in Waukegan, Illinois, at this really, really beautiful theater. So I told him, I go, hey, I'm passing through on my way to Minnesota. I have an off night. That Thursday I'm off. I want to come watch the show. And he's like, yeah, absolutely, come on out. So he comes out, and forever, all I wanted out of this, besides working in Brad's club, is I just wanted the opportunity to go to him and say thank you. Because he's met a million people since I saw him last, and he's also gone through, he's sober now, and I mean, his life has really gone a long way, and we're talking over 20 years.
right.
I don't expect anyone to remember anything. So I've always just wanted to be able to say thank you because you gave me the push, and I'm doing it now, and that's what I make my living with.
Right.
And I wouldn't be doing that without that. So Dave gets me a ticket. He comps me a ticket and then gets me a VIP to go backstage. So I'm backstage, and then Brad comes in. We start talking, and I don't want to go through the whole thing with him, but I'm like, yeah, we have history together back in Indianapolis and all this kind of stuff, right? And immediately we catch up, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm actually doing your club in March. He's like, well, I want to come. I want to be there to see that. So I hope that's part of the reason why he's actually going to be on the show. But we had this really great talk about stuff, and it made me realize what he did for me. It made me realize that back then, I was a 20-some-year-old kid who was, I want to do this, and he was like, you should do it. And
Yeah.
it takes me back to how many times I've been in a club after a show, and someone's come up and they said, man, I want to be a comic. I want to do this. And I'd love to believe that I've always been that guy that's been the same way and been encouraging, but I know that I haven't. I know I haven't been.
Oh, no. When I told you I wanted to do comedy, you were like,
Yeah.
dude, fuck that. Don't
Yeah.
do that. You're an idiot.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what you said
but
to
I'm
me.
sure.
but-
I'm sure there've been times where I have done that.
No, you've
And-
always been very encouraging.
But it made me realize exactly that we do have,
Some influence.
an obligation almost to be at least listen to that person.
Yeah.
And I know I haven't always been that person. And then catching up with him again in Waukegan, it allowed me to kind of put everything in perspective. And since that time, I've tried to be a lot more open to people as far as, because that meant everything to me.
Yeah.
And that changed my entire, I wouldn't be sitting here with the opportunity I have in front of me with where we are right now. I wouldn't have that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know you guys. I wouldn't know any of the people any of the people I have in my life right now who are influential to me. I wouldn't have if he would not have taken that 1 second to say, yeah. And it really makes me want to be more like that. So
Yeah.
it's a big deal, man.
No, it definitely is. I agree with you. And I think all of us have influences from comedy, but I don't think we all have what you have, which is pretty profound.
Not yet.
Well,
But the thing is, you don't know when that's going to be.
yeah.
It could be the guy. If you're at the off-Broadway open mic and that one guy that you see that struggles and walks off stage, and if you're like, hey, man, it's 5 minutes. It'll be better next week. That comment, while it means nothing to you, 3 years from now could be the thing that he looks back on as the launching pad of why he's doing what he wants to do.
That's a good point.
It's real. It's really taught me a lot about perspective because, man, you finish a show sometimes, you're like, you fuck up a punchline or whatever.
You're always your worst critic.
Yeah, and you're not in the headspace to be that person.
Right.
And it's really opened my eyes to where I'm trying. I mean, I'm trying to be Stuart Huff.
Yeah.
Stuart's so encouraging to everyone in the world.
He is a super nice guy.
And
super nice guy.
I need to be more Stuart and less otherwise. So, but we all could be.
Well, yeah. I mean, we all definitely do that. Man, it's been great having you on the show.
Thanks for
man.
having me, guys.
It's been great.
Yeah.
Sorry for rambling so much.
No, dude. Great
stories.
stories. Absolutely love it. We've had a blast. Ish, you got anything else?
No, that was wonderful.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
Matt.
Well, don't forget to follow us on iTunes and Podbean and SoundCloud and Twitter and Facebook and all those kind of good places. If you have anything you want to say to us, go ahead and you can email us at crosswordscomedyproject@gmail.com. And, of course, there's always going back and looking at our past episodes.
Yeah, check those out, right?
Absolutely.
I've listened to some of the back catalog.
We just posted a 2017 in review. I did like a greatest hits from 2017.
That's a lot of work, right?
It's funny as hell because it starts with it was a ton of work. It took me 7 hours to compile the damn
Yeah,
thing.
that's crazy.
But freaking Ron Sexton started out with going an Arab and a Jew at my brother's wedding.
He did the Tony Soprano.
Fucking
awesome.
makes me die laughing.
His Tony Soprano might be my favorite of his impressions.
He does some amazing stuff.
Yeah, he does.
But so definitely go check those out. And
I just realized we've been on camera the entire time.
That's true. We have.
And the guy who's in shape is directly, and then they
I'm not
take
in
the.
shape.
Okay,
well,
relatively speaking.
I mean, circle is a shape.
Yeah,
So,
but then you have Josh and I, and so we have the
We
big
have
guys with the roll, and we're sitting over like we're shitting into a fire.
Well, this table is awfully short, so I don't have a choice.
We're shitting into a fire.
That's what I feel. I feel
Look at the
like
way he's got his hands
visual.
right now.
Well,
He's
I know. I've been
squatting.
like this right here. If you just change the room I'm in. No,
So anyway, but so I apologize for anyone who might, the 3 people who might be watching.
Yeah.
no, it's
Might be scary.
totally fine. For Matt Holt, I'm Josh Sardam. You guys have a good night.